For this 70s retro macrame wall hanging, I'm going to be working off of a branch. If you don't have a branch, a 12-inch wooden dowel will do as well. To begin our macrame wall hanging, you want to attach all 19 strands of rope using a lark's head knot. Fold your cord in half, with a loop end place that behind your branch, and then thread the long tail ends through the loop. Great, now attach the rest just the same. We have 38 strands of rope now, and we also have 38 squares across the top of our pattern. Each square represents a vertical double half hitch knot in that corresponding color, and I'm using yarn to tie my knots. This is an acrylic medium worsted weight yarn. Now, you don't have to use the same brand that I'm using, just make sure that your yarn is half the diameter of your rope. You want your vertical double half hitch knots to be as close to a square as possible, just like in our grid pattern. Snip off a long strand of your yarn, and it doesn't matter the length, just work with what's comfortable for you. For me, that's roughly around my arm span. Place your yarn underneath the first strand of rope with the short tail end on the left and the long on the right. Make a loop on your right, wrap your tail around and through the loop. This is only half of your knot, and as you can see, it's just looped around your rope. So to complete your knot, repeat the same thing. So make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, and cinch it up. But don't cinch it up too taut because you want to be able to slide your knot all the way up to the top. Let's go ahead and do the second knot together. So with the same strand of yarn, you want to place it underneath the next strand of rope. Make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, cinch it up to the top this time, and then repeat one more time. So make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, and cinch up to the top. Alright, so let's continue tying our vertical double half hitch knots in our black yarn. We have 4 of them before we have to switch to a different color. Grab your yarn in the next color and snip off a long strand, just like we did with the black. Now, the reason why it doesn't matter the length is because you're always going to run out. And every time you run out, you just want to attach it just like we did at the start. Set your previous strand of black yarn off to the side, then grab the next strand of black rope and attach your yarn. So anytime you need to add a new color or you run out of length, we're going to attach it just like this. Eventually you're going to notice that you're going to have a lot of short little tail ends from every time we attach a new piece. Tuck them behind your wall hanging and ignore them for now. We'll get to them at the end of the project. So let's continue on tying with our new strand of yarn just the same as we were before with the black. Now we need to switch back to the black. So in order to do that, locate your previous black strand of yarn, and with your golden brown yarn, you want to place that off to the side, kind of tucking it towards the back. Take your previous black strand of yarn, and what we're going to do is we're going to lift up all of these middle filler cords. Then run your black yarn underneath your filler cords. Then with your black yarn, you want to take your next strand of black rope, place it underneath, and tie your vertical double half hitch knot just the same as you were before. Now I do have to say, watch your tension. You don't want to pull it too taut, otherwise you're going to make your work pucker. And one more thing, if I have to run my yarn from one end of the project to the other, then I'm just going to attach a new piece. If you're zigzagging back and forth too often, then it is a little bit of a waste of yarn and the back of your project will be bulky. For this project, I think I only had to do that once. Alright, I'm going to jump ahead and I'll meet you at the end of the first row. Before we begin our second row, I always like to highlight each row I have completed. That way I don't get lost in my pattern. For our second row, we're actually starting over here on the right-hand side. So with the same strand in the previous row, we're going to go back in the opposite direction. So take your yarn and place it behind the last strand of rope, bringing it over to the left. Make a loop on your left, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop, cinch it up to the top, and repeat one more time. So it's the same thing as we did in the first row, only we're going the opposite way. It is tricky to get used to when you're going kind of backwards, but just remember that your yarn is always going to be on the side of the direction that you're going. So if you get confused or you have to walk away from your project at any point, the side that your yarn is on is the side of the direction that you're going. Now, as you saw at the start of this video, this was a pattern request. So if you have a suggestion on what I should do next, please leave it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do for you. Now for our third row, we're going to go back in the other direction. So as you can see with our grid pattern, we're going to zigzag all the way down. And we're going to be swapping back and forth with colors, and anytime you run out of length of your yarn, you're going to attach a new piece. Alright, now that you tied your very last knot, admire your work, and then flip it over and we're gonna clean up the mess on the back. And don't worry, it doesn't take nearly as long as all the vertical double half hitch knots. Okay, so to clean up the mess on the back, I like to take any two strands that are close together and tie a double overhand knot and then snip off the excess length of yarn. Now, if this was a smaller project like my disco snail I did previously, I would just leave it at that, but because this is a nicer, larger wall hanging, I will add a backing and my signature. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate that in this video, unfortunately, because to be quite honest, I did not do that yet. However, I do have a separate tutorial on how I professionally fix up the back of a wall hanging. If that is something that you're interested in, feel free to click the link on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.